I'm shy. I'm like, you don't want God to punish you because if this is your gift and then you have been led to meet a producer, do you know what I mean? And I say sing.
And you say you're shy.
I'm shy.
This is for some people.
Do
You
you know what
need
I'm
to
saying?
hear it. Take your
Boom!
opportunity, seize it.
It's like I'm taking shots at somebody here, but it's no, I'm not really taking shots at somebody here.
One of the biggest things with creativity for me
Yeah.
is we are hinging on the ability to relate to what people are feeling and what people have felt. We're not trying to even give people new emotions, right? The emotions that people feel and people start to hold on tightly to being able to relate. You know, so be it in films where you get people talking about love and you get romances and all of that, it's because people have expressed and felt love in different ways and they want something that they can empathize with. I've sat with you and watched you now. How does that reflect itself when you're creating music and understanding sound? Because I see so much the power and the importance of sound these days.
It's I think one of the first things that if I was going to tell anybody, if anybody says I'm a creative and I want to, go into this or I want to explore music or sound or anything, is first the courage to be open-minded. Because the thing about creativity is, like we were saying in the first place, Nigerians have just come to terms, with this with putting the value on, creativity that, they put now, without people saying, you know what, no matter what you feel about what I'm doing creatively, we will never push the boundaries. We'll never get to the point where we'll be able to say, you know what, people that make Instagram videos, we are going to pay them as influencers because we see the value in what they're doing. You know what I mean? So it's one thing I always put in my mind is, if this gift has been given to me, is my responsibility to always push the boundaries. So anything that comes to my mind, while I'm making the music, I just shed it out. Anything that comes to my mind, you know what I mean? Because you never know who or who's going to listen to it and be like, this actually speaks to me. There are different formats already that exist with, club music or Afro-pop music. No, but how about merging everything together and doing something different? And then somebody somewhere is like, you know what? I've been waiting for this sound since and nobody ever, I just thought that it would never happen. Or I've been waiting for this topic, for somebody to talk about this, and it never happened. So I just think about, pushing the boundaries and not allowing what the norms are.
To define what
You know what I
should be
mean?
doing. And it's important because I think that's another reason why I wanted both you guys here, was that idea that you're doing stuff and you're being noticed and you're being respected for the things that you're doing, right? But you are by no means mainstream whatsoever, right?
At all.
It is unexpected.
Yeah.
And there's an essence and importance to that aspect of creativity.
Yeah.
That creativity is only really creativity if you're trying to push something different. If you're bringing the same thing as someone else has done, you're not actually creating. You're just replicating or putting something else. You're just churning something else out of the same factory.
Yes, true.
And there's an importance to do things that are undone, importance to do things that aren't what people are looking for. And I was mentioning this earlier, the idea of creating something that people want without them yet knowing that they want it. And so how do you start to find that new aspect? Is it something that you have thought of before, or are you constantly exploring things finding things by accident?
I think it's a mix of both for me. So, I'm sure Icon will be able to relate to this. Sometimes when you're working, you're either making music or you're trying to give birth to an idea, you can just stumble on something by mistake. Yeah. And more often than not, it happens a lot. 9 out of 10 songs that you make, there are like a ton of mistakes in them that you've made, and you just go along with it. So sometimes it's not even knowing that you want this until you hear it. Yeah. And you're just like, oh my God, this is amazing, and you put it in. Other times it's like, if I think of an idea I don't know how it's going to go until I execute the idea. So it can be far out. But I'm like, okay, how will I execute it that people will be able to understand it? Because part of this whole creative process is people's ability to understand what you're doing. If you don't understand what you're doing, then you're not really doing anything. You're being creative, but you're isolating yourself.
Yeah.
Right? People have to understand what you're doing. And not everybody will understand. Sometimes your content might be so intelligent, not everybody will be able to relate. So, and that's the problem I have. I wouldn't say it's a problem,
Hey,
but
I won't say that. It just sound like a little bit of vanity. Like, oh, that's the problem I have. My thing is just
but
so intelligent
but
that
really
no
though,
one understands
I have been. People have told me several times to dumb it down.
Yeah.
They said, "Elo, dumb it down, dumb it down, dumb it down. Your jokes are too intelligent." But I found a workaround. So this thing I do every Wednesdays, the puns I do every Wednesdays. I didn't want to stop because I liked what I was doing. People understood, but not everybody did. And I'm like, okay, how do I get people to understand? So what I did was add visual cues to the videos, so they know what to look out for, right? Because if you just hear me, you might not get it. But when you see the visual cues, you now put two and two together, and it now makes sense to you. So a lot more people got on board, right? So sometimes you just don't know what you're looking for until you find it.
You find people who the depth of their creativity has been found with the things that you don't have. Because when you have to find a workaround,
You'll be very
you realize that
innovative.
exactly, like it brings different levels of innovation out of you. If you have to work with, we have to sort out what it is, what's lighting like, then you start to find creative ways to use space, to
be very resourceful.
view things. Like, and we're having a conversation about this, can't remember who the name of the guy is, who, he does live sound.
Yes.
And so he doesn't use the production stuff. He actually goes and tries to create stuff that will make the sounds that he wants to create. And so how do you get there? The levels of creativity it takes to build and make sounds you've never heard before. To go and actually find things and just hear what something is like. You go out and, because for me, it's understanding where do you get your inspiration from? Everything. What is going on in the world around you? Are you alert to the opportunities there are to create in a different way? And why I wanted to have this conversation was for people that are creative, but haven't realized it or don't know how to step into that realm of creativity or see what it is that is in front of them that are opportunities. Because sometimes you can have a mindset that stops you from, because you have been through different things or you struggle in different areas, not to actually see the opportunities that are there. And so how do you start to open your mind and change your mentality to a position where you are more receptive of opportunities around you?
Yeah. And I can tell you how, I think it's in line with everything I was saying, having the courage. But sometimes, things happen to people that drive them to tell their story. It could be tragic, it could be happy, but those kind of things drive. But if I was going to tell anybody, like I said before, it's to just begin. If you never try, you will never ever know.
You will never know.
That's just it. So I had a conversation in the studio one day with a friend of mine, and there was a therapist in there, and they were talking about, how people worry about, okay, I'm in my 20s, by 20 I should be doing this, by 30 I should be doing this. And, they asked for my 2 cents, and I said, yeah, when I was 20, I thought I was going to be doing something. When I was 25, when I turned 30, I thought I was going to be doing something else. But it just kept, it was nothing like I expected. Yeah. But I reached a peak, mindset where I realized that everything that I want to do, it's always like a big plan. It's a long-term, big goals here and there. And I started putting pressure on myself and realized, listen, I have the rest of my life to accomplish these goals. Because what happens is, you say you're 20, by the time you're 25, you want to get married. There's a lot of pressure on you and society and your parents, and anxiety comes in and all these things. And it may not happen because of that. You know what I mean? Yeah. To changing the way you see it and say, listen, these things will happen. Not to procrastinate, but know that these things will happen. What do I want to do first and do well? Focus on that. You know what I mean? Yeah. If I want to start doing internet videos so that I can become an Oscar-winning director, let me start with the Instagram videos, you know. Let me do that first.
And do it well.
And do it well. And in trying that, you may see that, like, you know, you don't even want to be Oscar nominated anymore, because an entire avenue has opened up for Instagram awards, and, you know, these ones not even more, whatever, you just don't know. So instead of thinking, oh man, by the time I'm 25, I should have, or I'm 30, I must have, scrap all that. That idea, that age, we created numbers so that we could measure, you know, human beings, we created numbers, we created time so that we can measure things. And somehow that's not helped a lot of us. So remove that idea from your mind and just think, I have the rest of my life to accomplish these things.
Because of where we have been and the things that have happened and the things that are happening in this nation, level of opportunity seems to be down, jobs, all these kind of things, there is a restriction in hope. We've been such a hopeful people. In fact, we're so highly known for hopefulness. I remember there was a time back when I was in school, we were seeing, I remember I was on school, newspaper came out in England, and we're looking at the countries, the happiest countries, the unhappiest countries. And we were the happiest at the point, literally. And things have changed so much. The level of suicide has gone up, depression is through the roof. And because people's opportunities have become so strangled that people lack the capacity to see the hope that there is. And so how do we start to fix that cultural mindset and the opportunities and the things that are happening in this country so that people start to begin to see the hope that they have again?
I think it's time for them to be resourceful, because a lot of the people that started on Instagram and YouTube and everything, they didn't just start, so somebody didn't just give them all the money. You know, maybe some of them, rich kids, you know, had the money, but a lot of them went into YouTube as one, because they wanted to be creative, two, because they wanted to earn a living. Let's be very, very fair. And none of them started out with all the equipment in the world. They just started somewhere. You can be very resourceful. You can call in favors. You know people, right? Use your phone. I started with my phone. I didn't have a camera. I started with myself, my iPhone back then. And it was an iPhone 6. Okay, fine. No, not everybody can afford an iPhone 6, but you can afford an Android phone or whatever, a Nokia phone. I had a Nokia phone at some point. The camera was pretty dope, right? I could have started then. I just didn't know how to start. Thing is, I used what I had, and I went on YouTube and I learned. And some people don't want to just put in the work too. Oh, it's too long, it's too this. I went on YouTube, downloaded 5 videos on how to edit. And locked myself in the house for 3 days. I was on leave then for 3 days and learned how to do basic editing. After that, if I needed to do something, I go on YouTube, click, how do you do this? And that's how I started learning.
And there's a video for everything.
There's a video for everything on YouTube. I keep telling people, go on YouTube. You want to know how to do this? Get on YouTube. You want to know how to do business? Get on YouTube. You want to know how to edit videos? Get on YouTube. Sound design, edit, whatever. Go on YouTube. And that's what I did. I had to be resourceful. So I went on YouTube. I couldn't bother my twin brother, who was a visual guy at the time, or still is. I couldn't bother him because he had stuff to do too. So I had to do these things by myself. And we're in a country where a lot of things are expensive. Find a visual guy now, expensive. You have to start doing things by yourself. And that's what I did. So to those people out there, I mean, I'm living proof. I started trying to make money, 9-to-5 job. And I'd take my salary and I'd invest in my craft. So I would buy it. I bought a laptop, I got a camera, I got lights, I got everything I needed to get. And I'm still buying stuff till today. So you start from somewhere.
And I think so there's an onus of us as creatives to leave something behind. And it's not just, like I said, it's not even honestly, it's actually not honestly just about saying, oh, I told this story. And yes, we were talked about what's going on today, and we highlighted those points. But sometimes there's a level of creativity is a purpose, even to comedy, to say that I brought joy into people because there are moments of pain right now. Right? But there's a purpose to it. It's not simply just for the sake of me. For me, it's about the fact that you're influencing others. There's an importance for people to be able to receive what you're getting and understand it, because it's got to be able to connect with somebody. So, because I look at the times we're in, when I talk about it, like I said, understanding where we are as a people, the level, the huge, the numbers when it comes to poverty in this country.
Staggering.
Like it is, for me, I've never been so shocked. This whole thing, when we became the poverty capital of the world, I was in shock because obviously India have 10 times our population and we have more people living in poverty.
That says a lot.
That is staggering. And so we are, by essence, we have got to be able to impact those people and give them something to think about, something to hold on to, something to have hope about. Because why does pain take over in people's lives? People are going through so much stuff and they're not seeing anybody that they can relate to.
Yeah.
Why are there celebrities that people hawk after? Because when those people have impacted their lives in such a positive way, there's such a way that they're able to relate to them.
Yeah.
So therefore we have a purpose to give hope, to educate, to inform, to inspire. Something has to come out of the stuff that we're doing.
Yeah.
It cannot be that I created something just to say I created something. What is the backing? What is at the heart of the things I'm doing? And I say this now because we've started talking a lot more about it in terms of making sure you're leaving something that when people listen to your music, when people see your videos, that they're saying, they walk away with motivation. I remember I never wanted to be an actor that did a lot of like all the comedy or action films, because I used to watch films that made me think, man, I just wish I could do more. Like watch films that pushed me to a level of thinking, man, I wish I could think like that. I wish I could understand the way people do. Like there was so much innovation. When I love when a film pushes me to do something different, to get up and be like, man, what am I doing in my bed?
It's true.
This film in the first place.
It's true.
People are
It's true.
What are you doing? You know, that
true.
feeling, yeah, I get it.
And
I get it.
It's so important to give people that. For me, watch something and let somebody be able to see that there's capacity for them to do something. When you watch a film and you watch something, we love all those kind of films like Cool Runnings, all those people where they're coming from nowhere. Why are Jamaicans having a bobsleigh team? But people start to be able to aspire to be able to do stuff. Winter Olympics, didn't Nigeria compete in bobsleigh? It was like the Nigerian women's team.
Yes.
We look at these things and now people are able to aspire because things that seem so inconceivable became conceivable from a film idea. And so it's so important that we're giving more from the content that we're making.
Dude, that's why Hollywood is Hollywood.
Because they dare to be different, man.
That's why Hollywood is Hollywood.
Because they dare. That's the thing.
They've taken it there. Like Christopher Nolan, Quentin Tarantino, these guys. Like
Hans Zimmer.
Let's not even go there. Let's not even go there.
Oh, God.
Quentin Tarantino's latest movie is his 9th movie. 9th.
You think that guy has made like a whole
Do you know
bunch
what
of
I'm
movies?
saying? So for him, it's a quality over quantity thing.
Yes.
I'm getting the best of the best. I'm taking my time and I'm doing this thing well. You know what I mean? This is the level where you see these guys doing stuff like that nobody else is doing. It's inspiring for people that have the potential creatively to be like, man, I had that idea, but I didn't think, this guy's taking it to the next level. You know what? I'm going to do my own. It's just like you were saying, I'm just going to do my own, you know what I mean? So yeah, we also have a responsibility to be as excellent as we can with the level of creativity that we've achieved. So like as I am now, I don't think that anybody expects anything below, a certain standard.
Yeah. Icon, let me quickly say something here.
Yeah.
When it comes to inspiration, Icon's album, nobody has done what he did in this country. He told his story. And when you listen to the album, there's no way you're not going to have your own image in your head. You're not going to paint your own image, because he told the story not by telling the story, but by acting it out audibly. So nobody has ever done that. When I heard that album, I'm like, I remember where I was. I'm just like, yo, this is what this, as in he did it in his own way, So he's not trying to be this person or that person. He wasn't trying to be anybody else but him. So, and I'm pretty sure that idea, you didn't think about it. It just came. That kind of idea, it just seems like it just.
I think during my day, when I just go about living, I'm always taking things in because you never know. I think it's just the way that I'm built. and it starts to form in my subconscious. So when I go to sleep, sometimes, not all the time, sometimes it just shows up there. It just manifests there. So I would hear a complete song. And you know, the thing about dreams is it feels like a different realm because the way you feel, when you come out of it, you can't explain in detail. But when you're in there, you say, that guy wanted to slap me, but he was dancing. You know,
You
but
just
you
know.
could feel
Yeah,
in
you
your
just
dream.
know.
Yeah, so in my dream, I hear these songs, like they are real, very real. As soon as I wake up, and it's the irony of the whole thing, you start to forget.
Yes.
And I know that I start to forget as soon as I wake up. So what I do is, as soon as I wake up, I just take my phone, start to record whatever I can, and just talk and say, so in this part I did this, and I saw this, and I said this, and blah 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 blah. And with Solomon, what happened was, as soon as I did, I started walking to the studio. You know, I just started and I was saying what I was saying, like I was mad. And then I got to the studio, flipped the sample. In my dream, I had the idea of the bird and a wolf, because in my dream, I was a bird, and eventually I turned into a wolf. And what was the difference was, I was a bird in the sky, flying, you know, overseeing everything, thinking that yes, I've arrived. But somehow in that dream, I didn't feel comfortable being that. I felt like I was too high. I felt like, you know, that wasn't the position. And when I was a wolf, I was on ground with everybody. Like, let's make this thing happen. I felt more comfortable there. I felt like this is where I'm supposed to be. So when I woke up, like, it sounds crazy, but I felt like I was the wolf, you know. Like, hey, this is me. I know, I really know what I'm supposed to be. So in my dreams, things manifest to me, like for real. Like that's where I'm at now in my life. In my dreams, creative things, like I see the full, and it's so real there. The issue now is to recreate it when I come out of my dreams. It feels so real.
And you know, like you said, you start to forget. So like when something happens in your dream, you have, and then you're touching on and trying to grasp onto the things that you remember.
Yeah.
And there's like almost an incomplete. So you know, you still feel like there's still so much more to come, because there's still a way to perfect the thing that was presented in the dream.
Exactly.
This problem.
Strangely enough, I've started looking into lucid dreaming. Bro.
If we get into this conversation,
We will not
be
finish.
here, because the truth is, I think when they say, you know, look within yourself, look within you, the answers are there. I think it's true. I think it's true because there is truth to it, right? Because sometimes the world influences you to think that you want to do it a certain way. You want to get the Oscar, and that will make you feel accomplished.
The world's definition of success. Versus
Yes.
truth.
But all you wanted to do was mix this song well.
Bam.
And when you
sound
mix it
good.
well, the happiness is like, oh Lord, thank you, I've done it. You know, like sometimes I'm in the studio, I play a song, I'm like, you know, so I'm still working on this song. Somebody hears it and be like, fam, it's done. I'm like, done. Don't you hear that?
Can't you hear this? Yeah.
Can't you hear the snare is not really, I want to change. They're like, bro, it's done. So it doesn't make me happy for people to say, we like your song. That's not it. That's actually not it for me. For me, is I make this song and somebody somebody sends me a message and says, I lost my mom yesterday and I listened to your song and I think I can go on. I'm like, there we go.
Yeah. I think there's so much depth to realizing that. And this whole idea, like lucid dreaming, understanding your dreams, for me, it comes to that whole idea of being created to create. You know, you talk about how God created us, so looking at the imagination you have, what happens when you dream.
Yeah.
For me, I've always received it and said that that capacity for us as human beings to do that is God-given.
It is.
You know, I was talking to you about this the other day, the idea that like Psalm 82 says that ye are gods, there's an aspect of God within us, and so understanding the capacity we have therefore to create things. And so the ideas, the imagination, the dreams that you have, there's so much purpose within it for you to then try and manifest those things. So when you say the answer is within, it's because God has birthed something into your mind, through your dreams, through your imagination, and there's purpose and there's a expectation on you
Yeah.
to pour that out into other people. Thank you so much, guys.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for having us.
It's a
For
pleasure.
sure. I was gonna give you my thing, but I wiped my sweat. I was gonna let you mic drop because there was some dopeness there, but I won't give you this to mic drop with. Go ahead. That's right.
How about that?